admin fatigue that we all feel. Well, there are those who don't have that luxury of feeling a little bit sick and tired of filling out boxes, because in a way it's the filling out of the boxes that is a rare chance for those experiencing homelessness to have their voice heard, have their concerns recognised, and hopefully have changes implemented. And someone who knows all about it is Heidi Tucker, and she's the CEO of Anchor Community Care. Heidi, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, David. My pleasure.
So let's talk about the census night itself. You're there at, have you got sort of residential property there, residential quarters that people can fill out the census to say where they are tonight?
Look, what we've been concentrating on, up in the Yarra Ranges and the Yarra Valley, there are a lot of people camping and sleeping rough. Yep. And we really want them to be counted in the census. They don't have an address, so they can't get anything in the post box. There are many people like this around, actually. And so we've been working pretty hard the last few weeks, actually, and we've partnered up with the ABS field officers. And so we're offering a service where we go to the person and they can either fill out a paper version, or sometimes they can do it on their phone. But we kind of go to where they are. I think a really good example is we've got a man that we're working with who's been rough sleeping for 11 years. He has very serious health concerns, and his inclination really is not to be found and not to be counted. He wouldn't be the only one. He's very fearful of too much attention. I think it really speaks to, being very heartbreaking and isolating in homelessness. We're getting out there in outreach, and I would like to say that many of our partners, other specialist homelessness services, are also doing the same across the state, because we're all very, very keen to count these people that are either sleeping rough or perhaps they're in unlivable places. I know we're going to boarding houses and encouraging people to fill out the census. So we're really trying to get out there as a sector and really make sure people are counted.
It's vital. Now, in the case of those for various reasons, sensitivity or fear, or maybe there's a need to keep a low profile for whatever reason, and we know that there are some pretty volatile situations out there, can that person still be, at least their situation be recorded anonymously? Yes. I'm wondering if there's scope for that, Heidi.
Yes, no, definitely. We certainly do that. That's why we go with the Australian Bureau of Statistics out to people.
Wonderful.
And then they can understand the situation that person feels, and we can adapt the situation, but at least count that there's one person here that doesn't have a home, because we know that funding from a Commonwealth level and coming down through the states is done based on the census, data. And if these people are not counted as being without a home, then no one will ever know.
Do many of those experiencing homelessness see it that way? Do they can see the value, the long-term prospects of this bringing change?
Yeah, look, some of them, certainly. Yep. I was just saying to someone today, that we'll be also, working with women that have probably escaped on the weekend with their children and with their lives, thank God. And we put them up in motels, or they're in motels with other organisations. So I think the last thing they're thinking about tonight is doing the census.
Yes, of course.
But in actual fact, we need to count them, because we need to count the fact that women are escaping with their lives and maybe there's clothes on their back with their children. And we need to count that.
We certainly do, and I think it's a really good reminder for all of us, maybe good's the wrong word, but an important reminder that this counts, the census counts, and I know that you might be sick of ticking boxes, but please be mindful that there are many people who are relying on this data set, making the key changes, making safety, making facilities, making things like housing and funding and services available. You're doing a terrific job, and those who'd like to help out in any way possible, Anchor Community Care and all its sort of participating partners, thank you for being part of it tonight, Heidi, and driving these changes.
Yeah. Thank you, David.
Really
Thanks
appreciate
very
your
much
time.
for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's Heidi Tucker, who is the CEO of Anchor Community Care, and I think it's a really timely reminder about why this matters.